Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And if you're on mobile and extra cheeky, don't forget to hit that hype button as well. Super helpful. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the wedding drama subreddit and says, asking to pay for a trip I did not attend. Hi all, I, 25 female, am part of a bridal party for a close friend whose wedding is coming up soon. A few months ago, the maid of honor planned a bachelorette party in another country. From the very beginning, I let them know I wouldn't be able to attend due to financial reasons. International travel and the associated costs just aren't in my budget right now. Everyone was understanding at the time, or so I thought. The bachelorette trip happened recently. And days after the group got back to the States, the maid of honor sent a message in the group chat, specifically one that included only the bridal party members who did not attend the trip, asking each of us to send $300 so the bride wouldn't have to pay her share of the trip. This completely blindsided me. I never agreed to contribute financially to something I wasn't attending, and at no point before or during the planning did anyone say anything about splitting the bride's costs among people who weren't going. If they had, I would have made it clear that I couldn't afford that either. Now I'm feeling really weird about the whole thing. On one hand, I get that people want to treat the bride, and if I'd been part of the trip, I might have chipped in with the others to cover some of her expenses. But to ask for that money after the fact from people who didn't even go feels unfair and borderline manipulative. I haven't responded to the message yet, and I don't want to cause drama. But I also feel like I shouldn't have to pay for something I didn't attend, especially when I was upfront from the beginning. So, am I the arsehole for thinking it's unfair to ask me to pay $300 for a trip I didn't go on? It's just such a wild and exhausting thought process, isn't it? The audacity to send the message to the non-attendees only group chat is just absolutely something else. OP was clear from the very start that they couldn't afford to go, so what makes them think that they're going to suddenly whip $300 from their ass? If helping cover the bride's cost was part of the plan, then they needed to discuss this beforehand. Not that you'd have to do that anyway, but at least you'd have some kind of heads up, right? But not spring it on people days after everyone's back. Cheeky bastards, man. Part of me just says, just don't even bother replying to this bullshit. Another part of me is thinking, you could just respond with something like, I wasn't able to attend due to my budget. I was never told there'd be any kind of financial obligation for those not attending. And I'm not going to contribute to a trip that I wasn't a part of. And if they decide to react to that, frankly, that's on them because what they're asking is absolutely ridiculous. Someone says to OP, not the arsehole. I would send a text in the original chat asking how much those who did attend are contributing towards the bride. $300 a person is a lot. From the sounds of it, that's at least $600. You want to be sure you're not subsidizing anyone else's trip. OP says it would be split 10 ways, so I'm assuming they spent $3,000 per person. It was a weekend trip, so I couldn't justify the cost. Holy shit. Commenter says not the arsehole at all. If this were an expectation, this all should have been clearly communicated to all bridesmaids before the trip so people could adjust their budget or opt out in time. For those who didn't attend, you all shouldn't be expected to foot any part of the bill, and anything you decide to gift, if at all, should be considered a kindness. The whole season of expectation around wedding events is becoming so overwhelming. Another commenter says, send a message stating there's been a misunderstanding, and when you said you couldn't finally afford to go on the trip, this also included paying for anyone else to go on the trip. Commenter says, I would not reply to the text. If later questioned, I would simply state I didn't pay attention to it, as obviously it had nothing to do with me. If she keeps pressing, acknowledge how frustrating that must be for her and wish her luck figuring it out. There is no way I would feel guilty or uncomfortable due to the lack of planning or communication from others. That's her problem to solve. Hope this is helpful. So OP did come in with an update and said, hello all, it's been about 3 months since I last posted, but here's an update for you guys. I texted the bride telling her that due to financial issues, I would no longer be able to be a bridesmaid, but I wish her the best and would still love to be there for her and attend as a guest. I know, I should have at least called, but I also struggle with confrontation and social anxiety, so I prefer to do things over text, so I have time to really think about what I'm going to say. But shit really hit the fan. She told me she's really hurt by my decision, and she felt that she deserved more than a text message, valid, and that she doesn't know where we go from here. Hindsight is 2020, so I asked if I could call her after I got out of work, to which she never responded. I tried reaching out a few more times and she told me she didn't have time for this drama, which I took as she needed more space, so I decided to respect that. Her bridal shower came and went, and I did not attend because we haven't had any contact with each other since I dropped out of the bridal party. But the drama doesn't end there. You see, I like to make jokes that the bride is friends with everyone and their mum because she truly has a lot of friends. And I'm not even being dramatic. Basically, everyone I know has been invited to this wedding, including my own mum and my sisters and my brother and my cousins. But not me. I never got an invitation. I feel like the only thing I have to apologize for was pulling out over a text, but my reasoning behind it was completely valid. And how can I even apologize now when I'm being ghosted? Also, I'm not even sure if I want to reach out anymore because I don't feel like I need to beg for someone's friendship. Not really looking for advice. I just wanted to get some feelings out and figured you guys might want an update. It does make me sad that she threw away a 20-year friendship over this though. So people were asking questions on the back of this. One said, based on the post you linked, I don't see how that was a reason to drop out of the wedding party. I would have felt blindsided as the bride, especially if I didn't know anyone asked you to pay for anything. OP says, okay, I definitely post a very watered down version of the story, but basically I dropped out after the maid of honor told us that we're renting a huge house for the shower and we would have to set up for 3 days and that we needed to split everything equally to make sure it all works out for the bride. That text came less than 24 hours after I said I was able to pitch in $100 for the bachelorette and not $300. So it kind of felt passive aggressive to me. The house and balloons had us at a $2,000 tab already and didn't include any drinks, food, decor or party favors, so I was really nervous about the budget, and that's when I texted her. I did tell her I wasn't sure if she was aware that we were being asked to pay for everything, and I just couldn't swing it financially, and that's why I was pulling out. I also sent the text back in July, and the wedding is in November. I'm also hurt that one of the bridesmaids told us she texted the bride and pulled out for financial reasons, and she didn't send any money for the bachelorette, and she's still invited, and the bride was extremely kind to her and said she understood. She even said that the other girl could just be there for the day of and not pay anything, and that it was offensive because I only threw in $100, which is basically nothing. Commodore says, how did this bridesmaid go about telling the bride she couldn't do it? Based on information you've given, that has to be the reason the bride is still inviting her and not you. OP says, I'm not sure exactly what the text said, but I know she told her through a text and that the bride called her. And that's when she said I was offensive and that I only gave her $100 towards the bachelorette trip. The bride did tell me a few months ago that she only asked her to be bridesmaid because they used to be really close. They haven't been in touch lately, so I'm not really sure what's happening. Someone said, when did the other bridesmaid drop out? Opie said, it was between 2 to 4 weeks after I pulled out, and also over a text message. I don't know exactly what was said. Someone said, your family is still going when she treats you like this. Why? Opie responded saying, my mum says I shouldn't be friends with her if she's going to ghost me, and just not send an invitation after I tried reaching out a few times, so she isn't going. My sisters have a relationship with the bride. They met through me, but they hang out with her on their own, so I feel like their relationship with her is separate from ours. And they say they are thinking about it, but to be honest, I think they'll still go, because they've had dinners with her since then. My cousin also has a relationship with the bride, but feels I'm being treated unfairly, so she also isn't going. The bride is telling the bridesmaids that it's so easy for me to drop out of being her bridesmaid, so it's easy to drop me as a friend. But it really wasn't. I stressed so much about sending the text in the first place, and once I realized my mistake, I tried to fix it. Another one of the comments said that she expected more from me because we were close compared to the other ex-bridesmaid. But on the flip side, I don't deserve to be heard out and not just ghosted if we were so close. I can't think of another time in the past 20 years that we've had anything bad happen between us. So that's why I feel like the entire friendship is being thrown away over this. But also, now when I step back and look at everything I know about her, I'm not sure I should be surprised that she dropped me, because she once got into an argument with her own sister and didn't talk to her for 4 years, and she missed her sister's wedding and the first 3 years of her niece's life. To be fair though, I'm not 100% sure what it was about, but I knew they were arguing about the family finances, or the kids help pay for the parents' home. Commodore says to OP, does the bride actually know what the problem was? Because it seems like the financial pressure was coming from the maid of honor, so the bride might have no idea what's happened behind the scenes. OP says I don't know if she knew before I dropped out, but in the text I explained to her all the things we were being told to pay for and how there was no conversation about budget. The maid of honor would just say, hey, this is what we're doing and it cost X amount. And I just felt that was unfair. Another commenter says, OP, I genuinely get financial constraints, but you dropped out via text and got upset that the bride wouldn't hear you out, and now are mad that you're not invited to the wedding. I feel like you're not seeing the forest through the trees here, and I struggled severely with anxiety, but don't use it as an excuse here. You hurt your friend, and she doesn't want to consider you a friend anymore. That was a consequence of your decision. OP says, it just really hurts my feelings that 2 weeks after I did, another bridesmaid sent her a text pulling out for financial reasons, and the bride called to ask her if she'd be able to show up and wear the dress and not pay anything. Why am I getting treated differently? The other girl also didn't send anything, but I sent $100 for the bachelorette, and the bride told her that I was disrespectful for not paying the full $300, and I should have just not even bothered. And there was a few people talking about OP sending the response via text to the bride, and OP says, I understood I made a mistake when I saw how she responded to my text. That's why I tried to call her afterwards. I was thinking I hurt her feelings, so she needed space, which I gave. But I feel like the way she escalated it by not sending me an invitation is really mean when my entire family is invited. Is it wrong to think that since we were so close, that I was even asked to be bridesmaid, that I also deserve a chance to apologize? Or was me sending the text so bad I deserve to be cut off, and for her to go full no contact is valid? We both grew up with poor families and had to hustle our entire lives, so she's always been very conscious about finances. But suddenly it's go big or go home, and I just can't. I guess I'll just go home. And OP responds one more time about her friendship with the bride and says, that's how I feel. Like if we were so close for me to even be bridesmaid, wouldn't you at least hear me out and give me a chance to apologize? We also have the same group of friends, and she even hangs out with my family, so I'm not sure how to navigate this going forward, because I'm definitely going to run into her at some point. Honestly, I think it would be less hurt if she had totally cussed me out or something, or told me I was uninvited instead of being ghosted and just not sent an invitation. At least I'd have some sort of closure. And that is where OP finished up. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Bad London Holiday, who says, am I the arsehole for being annoyed over a cabana? So I, female 35, am currently on holiday at a resort with my friend, female 35, who I love dearly. At the hotel, there are a few covered cabanas that are first come, first served. This morning I got up early and forewent breakfast, hoping to get one for us. All already were reserved with towels. The pool manager comes and I ask him about it, because they have signs all over that if the cabana is unoccupied for more than 30 minutes, they will remove your stuff so someone else can use it. The manager tells me everyone came down at 6 AM, put down their towels and went back to bed. It is around 8, so I ask him if that means they should be free now, because of the 30-minute rule. He agrees and frees one up for us. I lie down, my friend joins me, and I tell her the story. We agree that should someone come and try to claim it, we will show him the sign and point them to the manager. An hour later, a woman comes up and says we're in her cabana. I tell her that the manager freed it up for us because of the 30-minute rule, but she calls the manager over, who tells us we can switch to the next one, which has also now been empty for 3 hours. The woman says no, her friend is reserving that one. I'm a bit annoyed at that point and say again, well, there's a rule, and I don't think it's fair, we have to move. My friend then chimes in and says it's fine, we will leave. I accept, I don't want to argue further. We pack our stuff and then my friend walks up to the woman and apologizes. She says the manager said it's okay. We're really sorry. We didn't know it was occupied. The woman says it's okay and shoots me a dirty look. My friend and I are now at a different spot with regular sun loungers, and I'm trying to get back to regular happy holiday mood, but I'm honestly hurt that she didn't have my back. She says I'm ruining our vacation by being so silent, and I get her point, but I'm trying really hard to not feel hurt. I feel she cared more about that lady she will never see again, not being mad at her than supporting me. And even though it shouldn't matter, it feels like I'm the angry black lady while my white friend is the good one. On the other hand, I understand it's stupid to be mad about a thing with a fucking cabana. I know it will calm down in a bit, but am I the arsehole for needing some space and time to get over feeling unsupported? Sorry that this was longer than I thought it would be. Absolutely not. If I was OP, I'd be pissed off in this situation as well. You know, her friend absolutely threw her under the bus in that moment. They should have just kept tapping that sign. 30 minutes, the manager's already given them the cabana, so, you know, that's settled in itself. The woman should just sod off. It's as simple as that. She should follow the rules like everyone else. But also at the same time, it's the hotel that should be enforcing their rules. You know, if you go onto YouTube, I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but especially in some European locations where there's these sunbed wars. Some places, they don't allow you to put towels down at a certain time, and they have like a barrier around the swimming pool, and so everyone queues up with their towels, and then just like at a certain time, like 9 a.m, 8 a.m, whatever time it is, they release the barriers and everyone runs for the for the sunbeds. And there's YouTube channels that comment over it like it's a race. Like, man in the yellow Speedos has got off to a good start, followed by hot pants there. It is absolutely a fantastic watch if you have a moment to do so. But Peaches for me says not the arsehole. The hotel clearly has an issue with this happening, or they wouldn't have the rule in place. The lady is the arsehole for trying to pull this. Your friend is the arsehole for giving in when the lady was clearly in the wrong. That being said, I think you should speak to your friend and tell you were hurt she didn't have your back. Once you clear the air, drop it and enjoy the rest of your vacation. Commenter replies saying not the arsehole, however some people are peacemakers. Anyways, that is the kind name. The unkind name is Doormat. We hate conflict and will usually give in when any disagreement comes up. How long are you willing to hold on to this grudge? Enough to ruin your vacation and friendship? But it was 11 hours later, and OP did come in to update the post. They says, thought I'd give you a quick update. I'm thankful for all your comments. I just read all of them. So my friend and I talked it out. I told her I was hurt by her not having my back, and she apologized and explained that this confrontation was just very uncomfortable for her. Some of you clocked it. She is, in general, rather conflict averse, and she would have much rather not been in the cabana than having to potentially deal with a guest. I told her I understand this, but I wish she had communicated this clearly to me. I would have left with her long before the lady came, because I think us enjoying the day is more important than having the softest bed around the pool. She understands why her apologizing felt like throwing me under the bus. Please don't think of her as a bad friend from this one interaction. You're only getting my point of view. And also she has been a great friend to me for 12 years and is amazing in many, many ways. We go on holiday together every year, and this is the first time we had any issue with each other. So in summary, we are good and spent a nice day on the Sun Lounger. Crazy to me was the cabana lady actually walked up to us around noon and apologized. Oh, what the hell? She said she hadn't known about the rule, apologized for how angry she was, and said she should have handled it better. She then came up again later and told us a cabana just freed up and they're holding it for us. We told her no need, thanks, but that it's really sweet of her. So sometimes people can really surprise you, and I'm very happy about how the rest of the day went. So Reddit, I'll toast to you with my next cocktail. I think OP's a very sweet person, and, saying don't think badly of my friend. And I didn't think badly of her at all either. I think it's just one of those moments where she was being conflict averse, but that doesn't make her a bad friend at the same time. Sure, that particular moment wasn't ideal and it would have pissed me off at the same time as well. But as well, sometimes people just cannot with confrontation. They just can't do it. But in the end, she did listen to OP when OP explained how it felt, apologized, and then moved forward. And that's what matters for them. And I think that's amazing. And have a little cheeky cocktail each on that one, I think. And even that lady coming round, I'm not sure if I believe her about the whole sign thing. Sure, there's a possibility, 50-50, I guess. But everyone I know that goes to resorts like those places know there's these rules on sunbeds, etc. You know, could be either way, I guess. But I'm glad she still did come round. She apologized. And you know, I found that just nice in the end. 3 people all apologizing to one another in a story. You know, just by the nature of these stories that we read, we generally get, you know, pretty traumatic stuff sometimes, horrific stuff. So to see people just talk it out, apologize to one another, sip on a cheeky little cocktail at the end, I'm all for it. How about you guys? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, you are bloody amazing. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully. Take care and much love.